Of course, coming up Sunday, Ravens Commanders on CBS. And before that, you can check out our next guest on that other pregame show Sunday, 8 a.m. to noon on CBS Sports Network. He is a former NFL safety, Brock Vereen, and he is with us now here on GCR. Brock, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Thanks for having me. I don't know if I've been more excited for a matchup this entire season. I hope it doesn't disappoint.
It really is juicy, right? Like this is, it's funny to me, Brock, because everything is about the quarterbacks, and I know that like there's a lot of matchup stuff there that I want to talk about, but the quarterback thing really does appear to be. I'm not gonna do the bit where I say Jayden Daniels is the next Lamar Jackson or is. I don't want to do any of that stuff because that's not fair to that young man. But boy, everything about what we've seen, he looks as legitimate as you could possibly look 5 games into your NFL career.
The first thing that jumped out to me when I really started thinking about the game was, Lamar's kind of the old guy now, right? Not in sense of, I think it's like his 7th season. So not necessarily in the sense of years, because quarterbacks can play for a long time if they can remain healthy, in the sense of, we are now seeing a Lamar disciple, right? A guy has a great college career, then they have a great NFL career, and naturally a kid who's in high school or junior high is watching along saying, I want to do what that guy does. And it's just insane to see Lamar, who will always just be the young, funny kid who's just having more fun than everyone else out there in everyone's eyes. Oh, wait, he's old enough now to where kids who watched him and mimic his game are now in the NFL. So, yes, it is completely unfair to compare Jayden, who's played a couple games in the NFL, to a guy who's won 2 MVPs in 7 years. But it is fair to say that the Lamar disciples are officially here.
Brock, is there anything to be said for, hey, for everything that he's done, this is a little bit different? It's the Ravens. It's that guy on the other side of the field. Like, we need to see how he reacts to it, or based on the fact that, like, he didn't blink under the lights on Monday Night Football, should we kind of accept that, like, no, this kid, having the extra year in college, all the big games he played in, there is no reason to think that this kid's going to blink no matter who's on the other side of the field and what the circumstances are?
It's completely fair to say that. And the reason being, him at LSU was him walking into every single game. Despite what LSU has been in the past, their Achilles heel has been defense in recent years. We all have these memories of fantastic defenses. That hasn't been the case. Jayden Daniels walked into every game saying, if I don't score 40 points, we're going to lose.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of weight to bear. And he won a Heisman, right? So he obviously they had, I think, 3 losses, so, there weren't any playoff implications or anything like that. But to have to walk into every game saying, my defense is terrible, I'm going to get hit a lot, and I'm still going to have to find a way to win games. Sometimes our running backs show up. Sometimes I have to run for 150 yards. So that carrying that weight for an entire season, plus being a little older now, like you said, rookies are older these days. Yeah, it's nothing will compare you to prepare you for the NFL except taking NFL snaps, right? But the mindsets that can set you up for success is, I've walked into SEC games for an entire season saying, if I don't have my best game, we cannot win. So now you put him around with that mindset, other NFL players with not a much better defense, but a little bit better defense, and a great play caller in Cliff Kingsbury. Yes, Jayden Daniels is off and running, man, and sky is the absolute limit for him just because of all that he went through in college.
Brock Vereen is with us, that other pregame show, CBS Sports Network, Sunday mornings. Brock, I wonder from a matchup standpoint, like I thought the number this week that was posted, that the Ravens were favored by a touchdown, I was like, wow, that's crazy to me. But I wonder if it is matchup driven. Like the comparison I would make is going into the Bills game, I saw a team in Buffalo that had adjusted to being kind of run first this season, or more built like establishing the pass off of the run. And admittedly, having not been able to watch every Commanders game this season, but what I've been seeing, it kind of reminds me of that. Like, the success is predicated. If we can establish the run, we're going to be really scary dangerous. For as many holes as the Ravens might have in their pass defense, it's really hard to establish the run against them. Is there the possibility of there being something Bills-like about this matchup for the Ravens where if they can get the Commanders out of the run early, they could put them in a place where they're uncomfortable as the game goes on?
I would say that would definitely be the game plan. What I would say, though, is what would help Kingsbury and the play calling here is he's not afraid to dial it back and just play pepper, meaning, okay, we can't run to the left, we can't run to the right. Let's do a speed screen to the left. Let's do a tunnel screen to the right. Let's do some RPO stuff. Like he has so much college video gameness to his offensive play calling. Right, he's not afraid to get creative. He's not afraid to throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Whereas Buffalo is much more, we want to keep this ball moving forward. So, yes, that is the game plan for Baltimore. They should succeed in that game plan. But I do feel like if you shut down the run against Washington, they have a little more tools in their bag to where they can simulate what the run game does by the pass game. And even how Jayden Daniels runs the ball, right? Josh Allen wants to lower his shoulder. He's fast for a massive guy,
Right.
but he's not necessarily quick. He wants to run between the tackles. He's not looking to get to the edge all the time. Jayden Daniels has running back speed. Jayden Daniels is probably the fastest guy on that team. So even there, if they want to involve Jayden in the run game a little more, it'll be a little bit different. But to answer your question, that's exactly what Baltimore is thinking is what we did against Buffalo. We do this here, and we should be in a good position.
I mentioned the pass defense, Brock, and this is obviously, kind of your specialty. I know that some of this, I don't believe the Ravens are as bad as some of the numbers would make you think that they are pass defense wise. But we also watched the second half of that game against the Bengals, and until Marlon Humphrey made an interception, they weren't stopping anything. I mean, the Bengals were moving the ball at will in that game. How concerned would you be about the Ravens from a pass defense perspective? Do you think that it's just maybe it's fluky, or is there a real concern for you there?
I really think about it, and the concern for me, I realize, goes beyond this season. It's really been the past 2.5 years. Well, we're not at the halfway point, but 2 years and some change. You look at the fourth quarter collapses, or even a lot of games where, the other team, like last week, closes the gap, but the Ravens still win. The frustrating thing about the Ravens' pass defense over these past years is it's not as if, Jamar Chase climbed the ladder, but Marlon Humphrey was right there. Oh, so-and-so did this, but the safety was right there. There's just these brain lapses where you just scratch your head thinking, what went wrong, right? That's the frustrating part. You can live with their guy just beating your guy on a play. What you can't live with is, why is no one within 10 yards of this wide receiver? Why is Marlon Humphrey playing a different coverage than everyone else is, right? They're too talented to have these brain farts. And I bring up previous years because it's not a Zach Orr thing. This was going on for a couple years now. I cannot put my finger on how it seems there's 2 or 3 plays a game where the secondary is just not on the same page and a guy is running wide open. Sometimes the offense finds the guy, sometimes they don't. But until they find out why that is the case, they're always in danger of just giving up some random 70-yard play.
Is the offense good enough that it just might not matter? They're at a point. Obviously, every metric suggests this is the best offense in football right now. If it's not Derrick Henry, then it's Lamar Jackson. Is it possible that even if the pass defense does continue to be an issue for the Ravens, they might just still be good enough to keep rolling past teams and even maybe the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs?
I would say, just like recent years, they can work through it in the regular season, but if you want to get to that Super Bowl, if you want to win that Super Bowl, you have to clean it up, right? This has been the case going on 3 years now, and Lamar just keeps winning MVPs, and the offense just keeps looking awesome, and Lamar's everyone's favorite player unless you're in the AFC North, right? But if you want to win a Super Bowl, which the Ravens, as long as Lamar is there, as long as this team is constructed the way that it is, as long as John Harbaugh is there, is the goal every single season. They have to clean it up if a Super Bowl is the goal. The regular season, they'll be fine. But when you start talking the Patrick Mahomes conversation, and you start talking about teams that have always gotten in their way, that's why. It's because you start facing teams that come playoff time any mistake, we are going to capitalize off it, right? Jayden Daniels may not be at a point yet where he can see that Marlon Humphrey went one way and the receiver went the other way. But the Patrick Mahomes and the playoff quarterbacks that they always run into in those conference games, they're going to find those guys.
What do you think about the idea of them dipping their toes into the trade waters? I don't know, maybe say like a Davante Adams, hypothetically.
I I don't understand how you do not give everything you can for Davante Adams.
Wow.
I saw the Derrick Henry trade as we're all in on this year. Money and age and injuries, we're not worried about that. I want teams to take the Rams strategy when they went to the Super Bowl and won it, right? Hey, we don't even care about next year. We have money, we have talent. Guys aren't necessarily spring chickens anymore. We're all in on this year. I would love for the Ravens to take that mindset. The talent is there, the depth is there, so they'd actually be in better position than the Rams because they had a bunch of great starters. They didn't really have many backups, but the Ravens develop guys better than anyone. Go all out on this year, and if everything collapses 2 years from now because of it, if you have a Super Bowl ring, hey, Rams fans are fine because they're still riding high, right?
Right.
I want them to go all in and say, we can build for the future. Sorry, we've built for the future in recent years, which can allow us to go all in on this year and just deal with the consequences at a later date.
And you think that Adams is so I think somebody would say, well, wouldn't you be better trying to fix the defense at this point? Like, given what we're just talking about, the struggles in the back end. But does Adams just have that, like, you can't get a player like this. Who cares where it is? Go get that guy.
Exactly. You are getting a guy who redefined route running, right? I'm a massive Davante Adams guy. Only this year did I finally admit, okay, he's lost a step or two. But I firmly believe that there is route running before Davante Adams and there is route running after Davante Adams. You go get that guy. He's hungry. He doesn't need to be your home run guy. That's what Zay Flowers is for. He just needs a consistent 3rd and 8, he being Lamar. 3rd and 8, I know where I'm going, and he's going to be open. And when I throw the ball, he's going to catch it no matter where he is. Davante Adams is worthy of that. And again, the secondary issues, it's not a talent thing. 31 teams in the NFL would want Marlon Humphrey. 31 teams in the NFL would want Kyle Hamilton. It's just guys are in the wrong place. So from a talent standpoint, I don't see a bunch of issues in the secondary. I don't see a bunch of guys that need to be benched. It's just a coaching thing, and it's a culture thing, unfortunately, but it needs to be fixed. You go get Davante Adams 10 times out of 10.
Brock, before I let you go, I know you're also doing stuff with Big Ten Network. Maryland's got a big one tonight against Northwestern. I say big not because the matchup's big, because, like, they at this point damn well better win that game if they want to have a path forward to even get into bowl eligible. And look, I think we all know Indiana's really good, and it's not like they've had shameful. I think Michigan State's a little bit better than maybe we thought they were going to be coming into the season. But, boy, you look ahead for this Maryland team, and as much as I'm a believer, and I think Billy Edwards has played really well, and we know Ty Felton is a superstar, but it's USC, at Minnesota, at Oregon. Even Rutgers later on in the year doesn't look like the gimme that you thought it was. It's really perilous for finding the 3 more wins they need to find just to get bowl eligible this season.
You're absolutely right. Now, by the end of the season, people will realize this Indiana team is just different, and that loss won't look as bad. People will realize next year when Michigan State is really dang good, because right now it's a bunch of 18-year-olds running around who are all going to be really good. So that loss will hurt less when Michigan State becomes better in the coming years. But my frustration with Maryland is there was this assumption that, okay, there's no more Big Ten East and West. They don't have to play the top dogs every year with 3 guaranteed losses with Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State. Maryland is going to benefit more than anyone from no divisions anymore. And there was this assumption that they were just going to be guaranteed 9 wins now because they didn't have to play those teams every year. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to keep improving. It's almost as if they let their foot off the gas because they don't have to play those 3 every year, and how disappointing it would be to finally get out under the umbrella of the Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State 3 guaranteed losses every single year, and then you fall flat on your face and perform worse. Their backs are against the wall. They're going to need a little bit of magic. They're going to need to beat some of the Rutgers or teams that on paper are a little bit better than them right now. I love locks. I don't know anyone who doesn't love locks. But they've burned every margin for error that they've had, and they need to play perfect for the remainder of the year.
I am, maybe like the trip to Minnesota. That might need to be a win. I know you'd be okay with that, right,
Yeah.
Brock? You'd be totally good. Yeah.
Just for you, yes.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. At Brock Vereen is how you give him a follow, and of course that other pregame show Sunday mornings, CBS Sports Network from 8 to noon. Brock, really enjoyed this, man. Thank you for taking the time for us, and look forward to doing this again down the road.
Anytime, my friend.